Well, the win streak is over, and he'll tell you about how it happened. Kailub Russell is in the house. Pro Motocross starts this weekend. Play-by-play announcer Jason Weigandt has the preview. The youngest of the famous racing Haydens, Roger, joins us to talk teammate, rain races, and more. And GNCC ATV gets dusty and dirty. We have those highlights. All that and more only on the RacerX Show. Hi, it's good to have you with us on the RacerX Show. I'm Greg, and we Skype in a lot of info. Plus, later in the show, we're going to have Kailub Russell right here talking about GNCC, Full Gas Sprint Enduro, and the 2015 ISDE team. So, let's go.
The RacerX Show with Greg White is being presented by Acheruby's Soul and Passion, and by Yoshimura, the leader in performance exhausts.
Okay, we're going to start off with the motocross segment presented by Acheruby's. Yep, I said motocross because this Saturday, the 2015 Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship kicks off in Northern California at Hangtown. And what better way to prepare you for the season than bring in the man who knows all. Senior editor from RacerX Magazine and play-by-play commentator for Pro Motocross on TV, Jason Weigandt. Jason, welcome to the show. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, this is exciting. Probably a thing long overdue, but no better time. No better time to get started with a chat when we got motocross coming up here.
Exactly. And since it's only a handful of days away, let's get right to it. What's news in the 250 class?
Right now, coming off a Monster Energy Supercross, there's so much momentum with the KTM teammates, and we'll talk about 450s and Dungey in a bit, but Marvin Musquin obviously has been winning almost everything in sight. But I don't think it's going to be quite as easy here. Jeremy Martin's the champ, and from everything I've heard from his camp, he's fitter and even more prepared than he was last year. I think a lot of people forget, even though he's champ, last year was kind of a breakthrough. It was only Martin's second year as a pro. So I think he's still on the upswing, and he's already champ. So he's not going to be easy to take down. And you have Cooper Webb, his teammate, in there as well. But I still think the champ is the favorite, no matter what Musquin did. Musquin beat him in Supercross, there's no doubt about it. But outdoors, Martin's a pretty bad little dude.
Anyone surprise you in Supercross, someone you think might do the same in Pro Moto this summer?
Yeah, there's a couple guys that you have to look at. Jesse Nelson had some up and down rides last year, but he did battle for a win in Indiana in the mud. The beginning of the year, he was really good. Had a lull like mid-season, but he won some races here in Supercross, and I think now he feels when he goes to the line, Jesse Nelson thinks, I'm one of the guys. I can do this. And I think he's gotten to that breakthrough level. I don't know if he can do it for 24 motos, but I think here and there you're going to see him right in the hunt. And a guy who has really never had a fair shake at it is Zach Osborne. He seems to get hurt at the worst time. Last year he got wiped out in a first turn crash in the first race of the year, and that basically ruined his season. I know he's going to be living with Eli Tomac in Colorado all summer. He's going to be ready, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Osborne up there also.
Okay, to the 450s now. What are you seeing?
Ken Roczen's the champ, but this is a real big pivotal point for both Roczen, and to touch on the 250s again, Adam Cincerillo. Like 2 years ago, that was it. Like, these guys were the future of the sport for sure. They rode and trained together. Their talent was ridiculous. They were winning races in Supercross in the 250s and the 450s. They're both at a real crossroads right now. I think Roczen's going to be okay. He has too much talent to struggle. But right now, I think people are a little bit down on him because of the way Supercross ended. But I have to remind everyone, he switched teams to Suzuki's this year. He did win 2 of the first 3 Supercrosses. He probably would have won 3 of 4 if he didn't come up short on a jump, and that's where he got hurt. That's where the season came undone. So if not for that, we could be talking about Roczen maybe being Supercross champ. But right now, I think everyone's saying, what happened to Roczen? Well, we'll probably see soon enough. Cincerillo, there's a lot more question marks there. He's missed a lot more time. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I think for both of them, it'd be good to get up front because they're good personalities, and I think the sport could really use guys like that to live up to their promise.
What about other news? A big announcement coming less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Christophe Pourcel, I think, is probably the most mystifying guy in all of motocross. You don't know what you're going to get. So now he's with Rockstar Husqvarna, and with Pourcel, it usually goes one of 2 ways: really good or really bad. It doesn't really go anywhere in between. So the good side is, talent and speed-wise, he's one of the few guys on earth that could easily compete with Dungey or Roczen Tomac. He can go that fast. Is he dedicated enough? Is he fit enough? Is he ready enough? And the problem with Pourcel in the past has been he knows exactly what he wants. If he doesn't get it, he's not into it. Last year he didn't have exactly what he wanted on the Yamaha. He was good, but he parted ways with the team at the end of the year. So I talked to the Rockstar Husky people and Bobby Hewitt, the team owner, and he thinks that team is just different enough. Yes, they are a factory Husqvarna team, but they started out as a private team. They can still do a lot of things independently. They think they can cater their program to him more than a bigger company would, where they basically say, this is the works bike, you adjust to it. So they think it's going to work, but we've heard it before. We won't know until about halfway through the year if this is true.
And where can we see pro motocross on TV, computer, or smartphone?
Yeah, we just announced it official, but it's not really a shocker. It's the same stuff we've been doing the last 3 years. So our first motos will be live every week on MAV TV. Also, if you don't get MAV TV, you can go to promotocross.com and watch all the first motos live. Second motos are on NBCSN for the most part. There'll be 3 of them that are on the NBC network, and you can watch those all on the NBC Live app on your phone. You do have to pay your cable bill, though. You can't cheat. You gotta pay your cable bill, and then you can watch it on TV, or you can watch it on your phone. I've actually watched it in the TV truck while we're doing it. As you probably know, to have a second monitor sometimes is handy. So that's how well that thing works. So don't rule out the app. Saturday afternoon, if it's nice out, you can go outside and still watch the race.
Thanks, Jason. And that's our motocross segment presented by Acherbys. And here's a little something to get you pumped.
Out here, there are actions and reactions, risks and rewards. Out here, weather will play a factor, and 30 minutes is a lifetime. For every up, there is a down. Out here, anything can happen. This is Motocross.
Now it's time for our road race segment presented by Yoshimura. Did you know that we had some World Superbike action happening in Imola, Italy over the weekend, where Kawasaki's Johnny Ray, who made a surprising jump from Honda to Kawasaki in the offseason, that's paying off for him big time, had his way yet again with the field of hopefuls. In a red flag restarted race 1, Ray barely beat his teammate and 2013 world champ Tom Sykes by less than half a second. Race 2 was a different story. The Ulsterman gapped Sykes with a 4.4 second margin of victory. A huge championship advantage for the man who has won 8 of 10 races so far this season. Crazy good. Checking in on the only American in the series, New Yorker PJ Jacobsen in World Supersport. PJ scored his second fourth-place finish in a row, and he sits 37 points back from Kenan Safoglu, second in the championship. Come on, PJ. And coming up this weekend, the Premier World Championship MotoGP at Le Mans in France. Coverage begins at 7:30 a.m. East on Fox Sports 1. Go Rossi, and go watch the race. And speaking of this weekend, Moto America is back in action in Alton, Virginia. Yep, road racing back at VIR. And one of the stars of the Superbike class joins us now from his home in Owensboro, Kentucky. It's Roger Hayden. Hey, Roger, what's going on, man? Good to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
You bet, man. Well, it's already an emotional roller coaster for you and your team this season. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, for me, it's definitely been a little up and down, but at COTA and at Atlanta, I showed that I had pretty good speed and things like that. So, I mean, that's one positive thing, but, you know, at COTA, I felt like I really had a chance in the dry, and then I got a front tire that was out around, and then at Atlanta, you know, I crashed out of both races going for the lead, and the one that really bummed me out was the second one because I knew I had a 5-second lead, and I wasn't pushing at all. Like a lap before I crashed, I felt like I was holding those guys up because I was riding cautious because I raced or crashed a race before, and I came around, I seen plus like 3.8 on my board, and I thought, man, I think I just read Jake's board. So I went kind of slow, and it came back around and said 5.8. So I knew I had a big lead, and I wasn't pushing. It's just when I went up to the top of the hill, some of the onboard footage shows where I hit the white paint on the right side and crashed. So, you know, it's a bummer, but, you know, it's part of racing, and we'll move on from there, and looking forward to VIR and getting the rest of the season going.
It's been a bit of a shock to see Yamaha win all 4 of the first races. I know Yosh put a ton of development into the GSX-R 1000. What are you seeing on the track?
Right now, I feel like you know, our bike is just as competitive as theirs, and you know, we set on pole at Atlanta and at Coda. You know, we showed we had a lot of top speed on that back straightaway. So, you know, Yost, they spent a lot of time this off season trying to find some more power, and they have definitely done that. And you know, I think it's kind of evening itself out. They have a new bike that's supposed to be great or whatever, and but our bike's right there, so I guess it's evening itself out with all the, you know, all the time that Yoshimura puts in to make our bikes the best.
Superbike rookie Jake Lewis is your teammate, training partner, a good friend, and he's very talented, but this is racing, Raj. I mean, if he starts beating you, does this friendship get put on pause?
You know, actually, we talked about that before the season started, you know, like, because whenever we played PlayStation basketball, you know, some stupid game on the phone, you know, we'd just rub it in till, you know, for days. And, you know, I told him, it's, you know, I say we approach this like how me and Tommy did it. We never had an issue. I think once we had to talk something out of how many years we're teammates. And, whatever happens, we said at the track, stays there.
Thanks, Raj, for taking the time to join us on the Racer X Show. We certainly appreciate it.
All right, thanks for having me.
And check this out. You can watch Roger Hayden and the rest of the Superbike Superstock 1000 field race up VIR on MotorTrendOnDemand.com's website. As for Supersport and Superstock 600, you can check those live streaming on fanschoice.tv. And that is our road race segment presented by Yoshimura. Now joining us here in Morgantown, the Racer X Show World Headquarters, Factory FMF KTM's Kailub Russell. Man, it's good to have you on here.
Nice to be on here. Good to be back in Morgantown too.
Oh yeah, of course. And we have a lot to talk about, okay? So we want to talk about GNCC from this past weekend. We want to talk about 2015 ISDE selection. But let's start off with Full Gas Enduro, which happened just last weekend that you won. Tell us a little bit about that event and how it went for you.
The Full Gas Enduro, they're new events this year, and I'm having a lot of fun with them. It's basically the same format as ISDE, and we have 2 tests, and we run them three to four times each day, just depending on how the day is going. And you know, they're short tests. There's 1 cross test, and it's mostly all grass track. So it's a lot of close racing. The times are really close, and you know, at the end of the day, we're all usually within, you know, 20-30 seconds of each other, and battling for tenths to get test wins.
Let's talk about ISD. So again, selected for 2015 team. Where are you guys headed, and how pumped are you about going this year?
Yeah, beginning of September, it's in Czechoslovakia, and you know, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be the first year where it's in similar type conditions that we have on the East Coast. So it's not going to be dry desert stuff. So, you know, I would be lying if I say I didn't want to, you know, overall the event. I'm really looking forward to it, and you know, I think it's going to play to the favor of the U.S. team, and we got a strong team and a lot of good riders, so we're looking forward to it.
And let's talk about GNCC this past weekend. You came in with an undefeated season going on, and we went to a brand new facility for all of you guys, so that kind of left the door open for everyone, kind of equal playing field. How did it go, and how are you feeling right now?
Didn't go to my game plan, but you know, that's racing. It's you know, the perfect season would have been nice, but I knew it was going to be tough. My bike setup wasn't quite on point, and you know, Chris Bach rode an awesome race. He passed me out there in the woods, and I was like, man, he's on it today. So I tried to stick it with him, but you know, I had a couple of tip overs, and he got away, and I actually feel really lucky to wind up second, even on the podium, with some guys crashing out, because I just you know, it wasn't the Kailub Russell I know riding out there that day, and you know, you'll have that.
Was there a particular section that you were struggling with during that race?
Yeah, there's a couple of sections out in the woods, and it was like a 2 to 3 mile stretch. It was just really rooty and technical, and not too technical, but just my bike wasn't. I didn't feel 100% on my bike, and I didn't feel like I was riding all that well. And you know, it is what it is. I'm not trying to make excuses, but you know, I got beat. So you know, like I said, that happens, and we'll regroup and try to get them next race.
Cool. And but you have a healthy points lead, don't you, going into the next round?
Yeah, I think I got a 57-point lead, and we're halfway through the season. So just going to keep trying to grind away and get that lead as big as I can and nail down some more race wins.
Thanks, Caleb. Now to four wheels, where Saturday, dry and dusty conditions dominated the inaugural Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC ATV race in Odessa, New York, where it's turning into a Walker Fowler, Adam McGill battle. It seems like NFAB AmPro Yamaha's Fowler is in top form, while McGill is doing everything possible to stay in the lead. When the green flag flew, it would be Bithell Racing Maxxis Precision's Chris Bithell jumping out front to claim the $250 AMSOIL XC1 Pro Hole Shot Award and the early lead. After the first lap, reigning champ Chris Bach was second. He'd eventually finish in the 12th spot. Moving on to lap 2, championship points leader CST-PirateMX.com's Adam McGill on his Honda 450R would take over the lead, while Fowler would work his way through the pack, coming from as far behind as 8th place on the opening lap. On lap 2, he was 5th. Lap 3, Fowler put the hammer down, pulling the fastest lap of the race, some 37 seconds quicker than McGill. After that, on lap 4, Fowler took the lead and never looked back. His third win of the season. McGill would hold on to finish the day in second place, while Jared McClure took over third on lap 4 of 6, his third podium of the year.
You know, I rode smart and just fluid. Never got arm pumped, never got tired, felt awesome. So it was good to be back to my old self.
The gap is closing down on McGill. He needs to stop the bleeding when we head to his home state for round 7 in about 2 weeks' time. If you love ATV racing like I do, check it out. ATV Supercross from Daytona on MAV TV May 16th, 4:30 p.m. East. And how about GNCC ATV from The General? That airs May 17th at 5 p.m. East on NBC Sports Network. Here's your race calendar for this weekend. See some live racing. The Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship opens up near Sacramento, California for Hangtown. It's round 4 of the WMX series as they join the men for that one. ATV MX lands at High Point in Mount Morris, PA, and the Kenda AMA National Enduro Series is in Park Hills, Missouri. If you're in France, head over to Le Mans for MotoGP. Say hello to Nikki Hayden for me. Moto America's third round is on the North Carolina-Virginia border at VIR. Go out, watch racing, and have some fun.
The RacerX Show with Greg White is being presented by Cherubies, Soul and Passion, and by Yoshimura, the leader in performance exhausts.
Okay, time to get out of here. Thanks to Kailub Russell for joining us right here, Roger Hayden and Jason Weigandt for Skyping in, and especially you for taking the time to watch the show. We appreciate it, and we encourage you, please share this with everyone that you love. For the fine crew here at the RacerX Show and RacerTV, I'm Greg, and remember, we are all racing all the time. See you next week.